Looks like someone told them to take the white goals and put them back where they're supposed to go. Looks like someone's upset, or they're all upset that they can't play with the little white goals anymore. They actually have to play with goals meant for 9 and 10-year-olds and not for 5 and 6-year-olds. Hi, Dave.
Hey, Matt. So we talked to him, and it's a he said, she said story. I told him, I said, the goals are owned by your soccer club. They need to not use them anymore. Josh doesn't like, he said, I'll tell everybody not to use them. Josh still recommends that we put them into the hockey pen at night. And he's going to tell all their players and whatever.
They were told last night, though.
Well, I know. It's a he said, she said, so I'm not even going to go there. They know tonight, in front of myself and Josh, not to use the plastic goals.
I think if you look at the police report from last night, if they reported it, and I have it on video and audio as well, they were told not to use them last night.
I know. But I'm here tonight. This is what I heard.
So that's fine.
So if you guys, after practice, you just put them in here. I said, as long as you guys got practice and game scheduled, you guys have paid for that. They can use them if fields are open or after.
No, not the white goals. They can't use them.
No, the fields, Matt. The fields.
Well, you said
they can use the fields.
I thought we were talking about the goals.
The fields.
Right. So they know not to use the white goals anymore.
Yep.
But we're still going to run into the issue that we have told 4 people out of how many that may come out here on any given night. And we can think that it's the same group or what, and that's, I talked with this group earlier about like maybe getting on the emailing list from, I believe it's Sean that'll send out and say, hey, it rained too much. And that, is it Sam makes the decision? Sam Peterson makes the decision?
Yeah, if they shut it down for leagues, we could send it out to these guys. I think Sean knows some of these guys.
But I think the issue is that it's just kind of it's not like they have a Facebook group or it's not a league or anything. It's just a big group. And and it's maybe the same, maybe it's 15 of the guys from last night, maybe it's only 5 of the same guys, maybe it's 30 of the same guys. So to expect it to, if we're leaving something out on public property, then we can't be that upset that it's being used. So if you want your private property not to be used, which is completely fine, then I think there is a responsibility on you to have it off of public property and off of a public field.
Well, I do disagree with that because there's several instances of this around Fargo. Okay. For example, if you go over to Spider Park, what's the correct name for that? Brunsdale. There's special 2 baseball fields, I believe, set aside for, is it Babe Ruth or?
Babe Ruth.
Whatever, okay. Yeah. So private property, public property, some of that stuff is theirs, right?
The field-wise, they did all the improvements. We own it. Okay. I mean, they agreed to put all the improvements into it, but it's still Park District property.
It's marked no dogs allowed, and it's marked like league use only.
Well, they have the rights. I mean, they get a schedule first.
This is another thing that I think that gets...
Someone can jump the fence and use that.
Well, yeah. But
and you can't say boo about it. Right?
Yeah, if they want to go out and play.
Someone could vandalize whatever. I think they leave equipment there, too, locked.
Yeah, they probably have L screens out and whatever out there.
Yeah. You know, when you say 4 people, I mean, there's about at least a dozen here, if not 15 to 20.
That were here last night? Or what do you mean?
That are here right now? You said you told 4 of them?
Well, we told the 4 we talked to. They said they would talk to everybody else.
Well, maybe it'd be good if we just brought them all over and said, don't use these, and then you know.
Well, I know, but you just don't. I mean, there's probably 15, 20 here. There's going to be another 15, 20 out there. I just said as long as, let's move them into the pen like we had talked about. That shows that they're not out here to be used. I asked them to use the metal goals. They're not that much bigger. They should be fine. So that's kind of where we're at.
Okay. Just so you know, they were all told last night.
I know.
Okay.
I'm not going to worry about that, man.
So here's my question. Honestly, if you guys want to take off, and you can get out that way. If you guys want to leave, you can surely leave.
All right, I'll stick around just for a little more, because I was here last night.
So, Johnson Park, up by NDSU.
Yep.
Some of those are signed, like league, must be scheduled league use only, right? The north half, I think, is.
Yeah, I'd have to check that. Yeah.
I think
you probably know you've been around more than
I think there is a sign up there saying, so, and I don't know.
They're all public parks.
Right.
I mean, those signs probably should be taken down, if anything.
Okay.
The big thing is if you're in a league and you've paid a league fee, you have first rights on those fields.
Here's my
reservation rights.
is the park district interested in making this, setting up another set of iron goals over here, having 3 smaller sets, and these are never used for league, and these 3 are never used for league, and it's always open to the public, and it's have a good night. And then the rest of it is that.
I mean, that's something we can always talk about over the wintertime. I mean, just setting aside open fields.
How much at most do you use for your league night out here, or for your league?
He has the exact schedule that we have of all of
Sean
our practices and games.
Well, no, I'm saying how much ground do you use at most?
He's just saying, are you using up the whole complex right now? I mean, I know you used to. I don't know how big your league is anymore.
Well, on any given Saturday from about 9 a.m. till about 1:30, it's used pretty much constantly, these 6 fields here, these 2 fields right here. Right now we're not using over there, but another club is. And another club and I are using those 2 goals over there for practices, that field over there.
When you say these 6, you're saying 1, 2 of... Oh,
I have a bad back, so I've been sitting.
oh
so
I see what you're saying. There's 3 here. And then
1,
little
2,
kids.
3, and then just on the other side of this field, there's another 1, 2, 3.
before those iron sets.
Right.
Oh, and those are using these small white ones.
See, when I left here, I was here at 5:45 till about 6:15.
Okay.
And when I left, these goals
Yep.
and those 4 over there, there's actually 5, but the 5th
Yep.
one over there is completely busted.
Yep.
So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 goals set up on 5 fields. They were all over here. Now, I had sent out a late email to everybody in my club who's using any fields here tonight. I said, fields 1 through 6, which these are, please take and put the goals inside the hockey rink. So they got close to the hockey rink tonight. I'll try to reiterate to them inside so they're out of sight. Those 4, but obviously there were
Thank you, you too.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're so nice when there's cops around. But they obviously
Super
took.
nice to me earlier when I was out here.
I have
too.
videoed showing otherwise. I
I'm
just.
not saying they weren't rude to you. I'm saying they were super nice to me. earlier.
That's what I said. They're nice. I agreed with you. I said they're very nice when cops are around. Okay. So they obviously took those 2 goals and put them on this field. Now.
This group?
Yes.
No, I can assure you they didn't do that because I was here when they showed up.
So.
I was out here for an hour.
Where did these goals come from?
But they were moved by somebody, obviously. I don't disagree.
Were
with
those
that.
goals there when you came?
I believe so, yeah.
So they were in the nets already.
Pretty sure they were.
So
already
somebody in
moved.
my club moved them over there? That seems odd. Could have been, but odd. But they still know not to use them because that's what we did last time. What's that?
Okay, excuse me, but you told your club to put them all up there, and now there's 2, 4, 6 of them that have been moved away?
Late in the day, after
Yep.
Dave and I spoke,
Yep.
I sent an email to the whole club that's using these fields.
Yep.
Okay? And I'm sure not everybody got the email.
Yeah.
Busy days, people come home from
Yeah.
work, they don't check their email,
Yeah.
and then they go out and they got practice, they bring their kids to practice, and they don't know. So by tomorrow, they probably will all know, or at least 90%, and then for sure by the next day, they probably all will know. So when I left here at about 6:15,
Okay.
okay, 10 goals on 5 fields over here, set up nicely. There was no goals over here. I don't know what time these guys got here. I got here about half hour ago or so.
Okay, so
Yeah.
when you were here at like 5:30ish, did you move them from the? Because there was some.
There was one goal that was over there.
Yeah, way over. So and you had moved.
I had the boys who I was coaching move
Yeah.
it back over here.
Okay. Because I've been out here. This is the 3rd time I've been out here tonight. I'm just trying to piece together.
Oh, today?
All this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because I know there were some over on the big field, or there was at least one sitting over there.
Right.
And then when I came back the 2nd time, yeah, they were all, they were mostly over here. And then,
Right.
and there was one team left here that I didn't get to talk to, and I think they thought that was what's your club called?
Fargo Soccer Club.
Fargo Soccer Club. Were they here on one of these fields? And then there was one over there. I talked to a club over there that was Fargo Soccer, and then United was there, and then somebody else was here.
These would have been just Fargo Soccer Club teams.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, Fargo Soccer Club was here, and then they all left. I never got to talk to them.
Now,
And
it's
then
entirely
yesterday-
possible that one of my teams that was practicing here
Yeah.
could have taken 2 goals to play with their younger boys. I don't deny that.
Okay.
I don't know that. All I know is that when I left at about 6:15, that was not the case. But still, the guy in the blue jacket that says Somali on the back, that does not like to get photographed,
Okay. Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
He knew. He was told by the officers last night not to use the white goals. I come over here, they're using the goals, and I said, I'm going to take my goals. And that's when about a half dozen of them come running over to me. The hell you are. So I just backed off. I wasn't going to escalate anything.
Well, that's
Good
what you gotta
decision.
do.
Okay. So what do you think the solution is?
I think the solution would be to find them some place where they can feel at home. You know, and not on these fields that. I mean, these are adult men, and they're still. These goals here are meant for 9 and 10-year-olds, and these are meant for 5 and 6-year-olds, maybe 7. And why they have to use those when they're plastic and they break easily, and that you try to reason with them, and it's like, the hell you're going to tell me what to do? Who the hell are you? It's like, you know, these are little kids' goals. So I think the solution is to have them pay the fees like everybody else pays to use fields, because they are much harder on the fields than my little kids, and have a separate field for them. One of the things that works in this town is that, for the most part, one club is up at Pepsi, and then they're scattered around town for practices at different places. I'm primarily here,
Okay,
and
thanks,
then
man.
See you later.
another
Thanks.
club, Red River United, seems to be in lots of places. I don't know where they are. I heard Ed Clapp. They have the whole West Fargo complex to themselves, but they rarely use it. And then they use this field. But I can get along with them. It's, well, for the most part, I can. But I have no problem with people who are reasonable. These gentlemen are not reasonable.
Well, like I said, I think we've talked to him. I've been here. Josh has been here. Josh knows the story. You're working tomorrow night,
Yeah.
so you know we try to get the goals put inside, and hopefully we'll see that happens tomorrow night.
So, officer, your name is Josh?
Yep.
So when you were here earlier, they were here, they were just getting here or something, you think?
Yep, they were just walking in. There was none of this group was here when I got here. I was out here for like an hour talking to mostly the United group. I stopped and talked to the Fargo Soccer Club a little, and because they had moved some of the goals so they weren't in all that mud over there. And when I left, it looked like they had moved them back. Then they had taken off, and then I was talking to United, and then this group showed up, and they said, yeah, that they're here almost every night when league gets done. And I went over and asked, and there was like at least 2 of them that said they were here last night, and they're
Right.
and again, this is all what their impression, he said, she said, whatever, but their impression was that some guy came out who didn't have the authority to tell them what to do and told them to leave and told them to not use these goals, and that the police showed up, and the police said, yeah, the park district said the rain was out and they didn't want us tearing up the field, so then they left. So 2 of them said they called the park district today and were told, yeah, they can use the fields today, so they're out here using the fields. And
Yeah. Well, for the record, I told them I was with the Fargo Soccer Club. I wasn't with the Park District or the police.
no,
And I was just telling them what the Park District had said. And they just said, well, so you're not an authority? I said, no. And they said, well, what the hell with you? Just we'll do whatever we want. It's public property. So that's when I tried to call Dave, and then I tried to call an after hours number for the Park District, and then I called 911 as they started to threaten me. So they know not to use the white goals. So if you came back tomorrow,
if I came back tomorrow and these white goals were out here and they were using them, I would say, hey, stop using them. Because if in my mindset as a cop, if you were going to leave something on public property at a publicly accessible place in a park that is designed to be used as a soccer field, it's painted, there are goals out here, and somebody comes out here and uses them, I don't understand how we expect that to be wrong. I mean, I agree that it is, because I know that they are privately owned.
well, then the Park District either needs to put us up at Pepsi so we can all just be in an enclosed, locked facility, or they need to start making more Pepsis around town so we can have the same things that the other clubs have.
Well, I mean, I think what Josh is getting to, Matt, is, I mean, you've got your private property out on a public space, and it's assumed it's public property. I mean, if I brought my stuff out here and left it out here,
I understand that argument,
property.
but they know now.
Well, I know. We've talked to them, so we'll see what happens tomorrow.
I don't have trouble with it. I'm not complaining about all these people ringing the fields here. I'm not complaining about the school kids. I'm just complaining about adults using 5 and 6 year olds.
Well, we know who we talk to. So we come tomorrow. They're using them.
And
I mean,
and
that's disregarding a direct order from a park district.
Yep, and that's what I had said with them. And what we had talked about was like Stonebridge, okay? The neighbors over there call on a regular basis about this and that and the other thing, okay? The garbage, the people urinating, because this is literally their backyard. I mean, there are literally people that can be staring at us right now, right? And yeah. This is the first issue I've seen out here, and granted I've only been with the park district since June 4th, but I've heard plenty of issues other places, things, and so it doesn't seem like they're being, and that's what I talked to them about, like, and they said, like, yeah, the neighbors aren't calling that we're leaving garbage here, they're being disrespectful, that they're, like, bad people out here, but they're using private property, and now we're going to get to the point where if we've had enough conversations with them, then...
So let's just say that I come back here and I say, okay, that's my private property, like I did today, and they know it is, and I start to take it. I should not have to feel threatened because they know it's my private property.
Okay.
Right?
Well, I think if it's been put in the hockey rink like we've asked, and they've pulled it out and they're using it, then you call me again. And I'll come over here, or Josh will come over. I'll get a hold of Josh. We'll come over here. And there's an ordinance that you can't refuse an order of a park district employee. So you could trespass them.
Yeah, if it gets that bad that we need to start trespassing people, and you can have